I do admit it. For the last, 4 or 5 years, I've lived a very erratic, unpredictable, at times very dangerous, risky life. I've been living in a way where it seems purposeless. It does. It seems purposeless and it seems pitiful to many people because of how I've been living and how I've been carrying myself and how, indecisive I've been towards almost everything and anything that's entered into my life or wherever I've gone or whoever I've met. Nothing's ever been stable or solid. It's been a very weird, fucking strange ass life for me the last few years. But one thing I can say, even with the honesty of owning that shit, is that I've tried to take lessons out of everything I go through and try to take some type of knowledge away from everyone that I encounter, regardless of how much time we spend, together, just on life's road or whatever, interacting or giving and taking, sharing, with each other. I've tried at least to take some lessons, but it's only now with some type of stability and some type of fucking routine daily having that a lot of the anxieties and the worries that I used to have, before coming to where I am now are starting to dissipate enough where I can process what's going on with me now and why, what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and why some of my beliefs, personal beliefs, are the way they are. I'm only able to process these things right now because of me having my sobriety back, and that means everything to me, I guess, now. Because to have clarity in mind, there's no other gift greater than that. I can't believe that anyone anymore is so broken where they can't come out of it and they can't heal, and that there isn't any hope for them, outside of where they're living now, psychologically and spiritually, emotionally, or even physically. There's always a way out. There's always keys, left behind for us to open some of the doors. They may be hidden in the dark rooms where we're at, but they are there, to get us out of those dark rooms into more light-filled rooms, more illuminated-filled rooms with purpose and meaning and understanding. Because with understanding, once you've come to understand a threat, it's no longer a threat if you're wise. You know how to navigate around certain things, or you know how to confront certain things that used to make you fear or make you run or make you hide. You know how to deal with certain new situations that arise if you're honest with your past and you've been able to analyze things the right way and ask questions the right way and take answers from either other people you've met on the road or other situations you've been through or things you've seen in other people, other rises, other falls, other people in worse situations getting out of their situations and finding some kind of peace and relief. You're able to have some type of hope afterwards for anything that you might encounter else in life that may be similar or even worse. Understanding and knowledge it's priceless. It is, but you have to be honest and have integrity with it. And now I'm only starting to figure that out now. I haven't been able to slow down because I haven't been able to process anything really that's happened over the last 4 or 5 years. But I'm going to start processing more, going over my own life and reflecting over certain things with as much integrity and honesty as I can, from myself. And I don't need anyone else's perspective on what happened because I'm enough for me that way because I was there. But I am learning things from other people, listening to their stories, listening to their views and their perspectives and their opinions on their own life's tragedies and things that are similar, things that are different, and trying to take, hints and clues, from what they've gone through and how they've gotten out in order to help myself get out of certain psychological traps that I'm still in even now, or spiritual traps, like my ambivalence, my indecisiveness, me back and forth all the time. Trying to understand why I am the way I am now, what happened, who do I blame, who am I really angry at, what are the ways I can resolve those issues with my anger and with some of my, like I said, indecisiveness. Why can't I stick to one road? Why can't I, develop friendships? Why can't I develop relationships that are meaningful anymore? Why can't I stay in one place? Why do I have so much self-hate, so much, all these things I'm starting to learn about now, but I know that I don't at the core hate myself. I love myself, or else I wouldn't still be here. You know, I protected myself in many different ways in order to still be able to stand and breathe as I am doing right now, talking to you people. You know, if there wasn't any self-preservation in me, I would have been dead a long time ago. Either by overdosing on some drugs or blowing my own damn brains out, like I say sometimes, but I'm still here. So it has to have a core meaning as to why I want to survive, and at the same time, look at life so cynical. You know, I'm trying to change that around, flip the coin around and get back to something more positive and more hopeful, because I know I do what I naturally can do and what's my calling to do, which is express things, which is to walk through worlds, walk through scenarios, walk through situations and circumstances, and gain enough to give back, you know, to other people who are going through something similar or worse. It's what I like doing. It's what I love doing. Love my people, but I can't help others unless I help myself first. So this time's about me. It's about being honest and shit. So yes, I'm gonna make a lot of reflective type videos and go over some of my own traumas, and I'm gonna be as completely honest as I can. Certain things I can't talk about in depth, but I will go over them and try to get past all of this for me, because people do depend on me being here in life. People do care about me. People do love me. And no, you know, I'm not as foolish as some people, you know, might believe me to be or would hope that I am, in order to jump off a cliff for another lost person, another lost soul. I can't be played or tricked that way. I got something in me that just won't allow that to happen. I can't be trapped and I can't be tricked that way. I've seen too much, I've known too much, I've walked through too much in order to go back on certain types of knowledge that I already have. I'm emotionally intelligent, you know I am. So I'm spiritually intelligent too. I have a lot of empathy and pity even for my enemies and shit, because I know why a lot of people do what they do, even when they don't recognize it themselves. So now it's time to step in front of the mirror and ask myself some questions as far as why I do continually the same things I do, with no type of reprieve, you know, with no type of break. You know, I said it before, I can't believe at all at heart anymore that there's no hope for me or anyone like me or anyone in a worse situation than I am. And there's many out there, believe me. I just met a sister out last night on the streets. You know, it was cold out. I was coming home from work, and she was pissing on the sidewalk of a mall with her little bags of clothes and stuff, and it broke my heart to see her out there like that. You know, but it could always be worse for all of us, and I have to remember that. But I showed her kindness, and I had to get on my way real quick. But I mean, I think that's my calling, is because I care so much about my people, whoever they are on the road, as I meet them, like I always say. And I am the way I am for a reason, you know. So I have to develop, you know, myself a little bit more and grow a little bit more in order to give back the way I know I'm supposed to, you know. So I'm gonna go over some scenarios and some circumstances, and I am gonna post them because this is my healing, a part of what I do, because someone else might take something from it. So at the core of it, people, I'm not a bad dude. I may seem crazy, and at times I've lived a crazy-ass life, yes, and even now it may seem like I'm unstable, but I'm not. I'm still here, I'm still breathing. This is just what I do in order to reflect. I look back, I listen, yeah, sometimes to myself, and I find myself changing all the time from what I said and when I said it. That's why I'm able to forgive myself so easy and keep going, because you can only do what you know what to do when you know to do that particular thing. You didn't know anything other than what you knew when you were doing what you were doing, basically. So if you know more than you know then you have to forgive yourself, because that person doing what they were doing, because of knowing what they only knew then, that's a different person than you are now, because you've grown. You've already passed that point. You're not the same anymore. Everything changes. Nothing can stay the same. So once owning that and knowing that you're a different person now in many ways, that you wouldn't repeat the same actions or the same mistakes and shit, you have to forgive yourself. And that's part of what I'm trying to do now. Because going around in circles and shit, like some hamster in a cage, or like they say in AA, you know, insanity is just doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That shit's true. It's not fucking correct thinking. It's not sound thinking, but we do it all the times with ourselves. We do it in relationships. We do it with our lifestyles. So many different avenues we walk, and it's crazy because we come to the same beginning and the same end all the time, and we continue the cycle and shit. But I gotta break this shit for me. I do. So this is how I'm gonna do it. 50 Red Feathers, the reflections and the ramblings of the mad poet 50-50, all my work, all of it together, everything I've done, all my experiences, this has been one great school for me. But it's time now to start fucking actually internalizing some of the broader points, the more meaningful points to my story for myself now, because it's time I get a grip on my own reality and fucking own it and fucking change some things that need to be changed for me, not just my kids, not just for the world, but for me. I'm tired of fucking going down the same avenues and seeing the same things over and over again, and fucking feeling the same type of feelings over and over again, having the same type of thoughts over and over again. I mean, where's the benefit? There must be more, and I know there's more, and I'll never believe there's not. I know there's hope for us. There's medicine in everything, I was told, and in everyone. So it's time to take my own medicine. Time to face myself, and time to ask myself some questions and be answered by myself about these certain things that I have curiosities about, because I know the knowledge and the answers, the resolution to a lot of my own issues are inside me already. I've learned a lot from a lot of different people in a lot of bad circumstances, a lot of deep darknesses I took light from, so it's time to be guided by that light for myself. So I'm Ru Redfeather, also known as 50-50 for real, but this is what I'm going to do. So this is the start.